Today we want to discuss something we get asked quite a bit here in the shop. We have a ton to choose from as far as leashes, and a lot of people don't know where to start, and maybe if they're picking out a leash for their kid or a new size board, where do they go? So here we've got a couple brands. We have the FCS brand Creatures. It doesn't really matter what brand. They're pretty much all going to be along the same lines of what I'm going to talk about. So we'll just start off at the bottom here. So a 5-foot comp. So who would buy this? This is typically going to be for super small surf when you barely even need a leash, but it's probably crowded, so you don't want to lose your board. These leashes are designed for minimal drag. At 5-foot length, it's not going to get the board very far away from you. So if you're buying a board for your son who's 8 years old, I wouldn't really get him a 5-foot leash just because he's got a 5'5" board. You know what I mean? So the point is you want to keep the board farther away from you. So what I would do in that situation for a young kid is I would get him a 6-foot leash. I would keep this for guys that really know what they're doing. They're going to keep the board in control, but they're surfing in a crowd in real small waves. So when you see a 5 comp, that's pretty much what that means. Ultra small surf. You probably don't even need a leash, but for courtesy purposes and safety, you're going to wear one. The most popular for sure for us, and probably most shops, is going to be the 6-foot comp. Sometimes these can be misleading. So this is FCS. Theirs actually says 0 to 4-foot surf. Okay, what that really means, the 6-foot comp, 3/16 inch thick cord. This is your everyday for most of us, waist, chest high, probably head high even. The reason is you want to stay with a 3/16 cord as opposed to when we go down the line next to a 1/4 inch cord. The 3/16 for everyday surf, slower waves, it's actually going to create less drag. So believe it or not, you can definitely feel it. When you go to a thicker leash, you increase the drag. So you are actually in fact going slower with a thicker leash than you would if you kept it. So the 6 comp or 6 and 3/16 is definitely for most of us going to be the leash you're going to use the most, assuming you're riding a board that's probably 6'3" or less. So that's probably the most popular. And then we're going to go into the bigger stuff. So let's say you were going on a trip or the waves at home are really good. Most likely you're going to come in, you're going to look for a 6-foot all round. If it doesn't say all round, because they do vary from brand to brand, you're probably going to look for the 1/4 inch thick cord. Okay, so this is going to be this whole cord right here is going to give you the advantage of not stretching. So the problem with the 3/16 comp, if you take this out in bigger surf or on trips, it's not necessarily going to break, but what's going to happen, it's going to end up probably being like 8 feet long. So that gets super annoying. So the advantage here going with a thicker cord is this is not going to stretch. Okay, so it's not that you can't take these comps out in bigger surf, but expect them to stretch way bigger than they are now. With this, you're going to get minimal drag, assuming the surf is big and fast enough, without the leash stretching. This shouldn't stretch much. Okay, from there on, we're going for the 7 and 8 foots. You're going to see pros. You'll see things thrown out there like the Reef, like this 9-foot from Creatures. These are all going to go up to about 5/16, 9/32. So most of us, I would say, if you want a good heavy-duty leash, if you're traveling to heavier waves, well overhead, hollow stuff, a leash like this, I'd go with like a 7-foot. 8 foot's a little much for most people, but there are those guys that want those outer reef type stuff. If you're surfing Tres Palmas or places like that, big deep water surf, the 9-foot Reef, 9-foot 5/16 is probably the best bet. For most of us, I think a 7-foot 5/16 is probably what you're going to look for, regardless on brand. They all have their pros and cons, but I would start with the 7-foot if you're going to do some epic surf. The last thing I'll touch on is longboard leashes. So these are frequently bought and returned. There's 2 differences with these. So this is a calf leash. There's calf and there's ankle. Okay, so pay attention to that when you're buying one. The calf leash comes, if you ever wonder why this is so long, well, that's because it's designed to be put up around your knee. And the reason it's designed to be put up around your knee is for when you're going to walk to the nose on a longboard moving around. You want that away from your ankle so you're not tripping. A standard 9-foot leash for longboards is going to have a standard cuff, much like this. So keep that in mind. If you're a real stylish longboarder and you're looking to move around, or you're buying a leash, this is exactly why this won't fit around your ankle, is because it's supposed to go around your calf. So keep that in mind. 2 styles for longboard leashes. Typically longboard leashes are going to be 9 foot or 10 foot in length. I would never go shorter for that. So I hope that helps break it down. If you've got any questions, go ahead and shoot in the comments below or email us at info@catalystshop.com. Thanks for watching.